Long days, pleasant nights, and welcome to Kingslingers, a Doof Media podcast journeying through Stephen King's Dark Tower series and beyond. I am your host, Scott Daly, and joining me, as always, 6 Air Force Cokes deep, it's Kim C. How's it going tonight, Kim?
Well, hello, Mr. Daly. How did you know my favorite cocktail?
It's best served to underage children without their knowledge or consent, is how it operates best, actually.
Yikes.
This week on the show, we are taking a look at episode 6 of It, Welcome to Derry, titled In the Name of the Father. And oh boy, there are a lot of fathers in this one. We're doing a lot. This title matters in like every possible way. This episode was written by Brad Caleb Kane and Cord Jefferson. It was directed by Jamie Travis. And Kim, before we get into the details, how you feeling? How you feeling about episode 6 of Welcome to Derry?
Oh dear, mein Vater. It's all right. I think I had a more chipper mood last time, and I think I'm a little annoyed, Scott. I think I'm like, why are you doing it like that? And I said that so many times that it's okay. We're giving this one a C+. Of course, lots to praise, but I don't know. I think I'm annoyed this week.
Yeah, you know, you sit down and you come up with a whole new strategy for approaching the show called Sure Whatever. And then the show really tests you on that, because that's how I feel right now, Kim. I feel like I'm being tested because I was like gripping my couch saying, sure, whatever. And it was it was a tough one. I agree with you. There's certainly lots of things to like about this episode. We're going to get into every single thing that we think is just marvelous, of which there are many. But a lot of the stuff feels off to me, and not in a way like, I mean, in an adaptive way. Sure, we're going to talk about the black spot and how the show is handling the black spot, which I don't love. But even just like basic like writing and production level stuff, that I just continue to feel like there is like pounds of cellophane on the cutting room floor of the show. I'm really curious, once it all is said and done and people start talking about it and production, like if we're going to learn that like a lot of the show went through pretty massive rewrites or reforming, maybe after it was shot in post-production, in the edit process, that they really felt like, because there's moments and scenes in this thing where I'm just like, you clearly cut something in the middle of this conversation, and then you left in everything else, and it doesn't make sense anymore. Just weird things like that. But and then just weird choices, like you said, where I'm just like, why that way? So yeah, I definitely agree that if I'm forced to compare this to like last week's episode, I was definitely along for the ride with that episode a bit more than I am this one, and this is definitely challenging my whole new positive sure whatever philosophy, because yeah. Whew.
I don't know what happened in the span of a week. It just got real difficult to be positive. It was a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like we're starting to get to the culmination, I think, and a lot of these culminating things are starting to pay off in reveals and climax in ways that just make me go, oh, okay. I can stop in my head just saying, I think they're going to do it this way, and now I'm actually seeing how they're going to do it. And oftentimes, it's a little disappointing to me, is what I'll say. In some ways, and in other ways, it's not disappointing. So yeah, I mean, just like, I think that's the continued schizophrenia of the show in my head. Of there's many versions of the show, and I have different feelings about all of them.
It does help me give the show a bit more leniency. I like how you put it in terms of the cutting room floor. This is a hatchet job. I really feel like they have made so many inappropriate cuts, and we can tell. And it's like, oh, there was a good show in there somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder, like, I wonder what the story of it is. If like things just weren't working the way they had originally, or it was just too long, or maybe they originally thought they had 10 episodes and they only got 8. Like, I wonder what the story here is, because I mean, things get cut all the time. That happens. You write a scene, you think the scene's going to work, the scene actually isn't working, you get rid of it, and then you have to kind of figure a way to stitch the two moments together. Um, that's not even some of the cutting I'm talking about here, where I'm cutting, like, I literally think they like dropped a line in the middle of a scene and they stitched it together in one of the clunkiest ways ever. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But yeah, it's just it's strange. It's strange in a way I can't quite put my finger on it, which is weird because there's so many levels of the show that I think is incredible. The production design is incredible. The costuming is incredible. I think the camera work, the directors are doing a pretty good job with some exceptions. Like, all the technical aspects of the show, I think are really good. And then you get to like some of the editing where you're just like, well, that's weird. Why is that like that? So yeah, I don't know. I'm puzzled. I'm puzzled more than I am like negative, I guess is how I'll say I feel.
This week's episode, I watched for the first time 4 times just
Oh gosh.
to figure out, is it me or is it this episode? And by the third watch, it wore me down a little bit and I was feeling a bit more positive. So I think puzzled is a terrific term. Let's go with that, because yeah, I've never watched one 4 times, and it wasn't
a lot.
It wasn't fun, but then it was it was rewarding in certain ways, but yeah, not my favorite.
Sure. Before we get into the deep dive into the episode itself, I did just want to circle back around. We got some comments and things from listeners on the last episode that I wanted to make sure we brought up some of them. The first is for you specifically, Kim. If you want to further your exploration and adventure and confusion around Mr. Bill Skarsgård, a recommendation was that you check out the show Hemlock Grove. Apparently he's on the show. I haven't seen the show, so I don't know. But I think it's gonna maybe further enhance your complicated feelings on the man.
Ooh, I'm there, especially if he's hot. I will be. I will absolutely check that out.
Yeah.
Thank you, listener. I will take that to heart. I am gonna head that way straight away.
We also had a listener, Chris, email us about General Shaw, and I think kind of reacting to our attempts of talking about General Shaw, trying to give him credit, trying to be charitable to him, that like he's obviously a bad person, but coming from a very reasonable, understandable place of like, I'm just trying to protect the country, something we see echoed in Leroy in this episode, also stupidly. But Chris wanted to point out to General Shaw that he's dumb, because I mean, we already talked about this, but his plan doesn't make any sense. But Chris points out specifically that he has not only proof of, but access to a soldier with legitimate mind-reading powers in the Cold War. Who needs a dancing demon clown, Chris says, when you can just send Private Halloran anywhere to find out anything? Mission over. Problem solved. I mean, yeah, like in a Cold War where spycraft and information are like the entirety of what the war is. Yeah, it seems like perhaps Dick Halloran would be better used somewhere else than in Derry, Maine, hunting an evil clown.
I love this. Working smarter, not harder. That's such a great point.
Yeah.
Good job, listeners.
I mean, I do think this is just part of like, everyone is incompetent in this show. Like, everyone is incompetent. Like, we learn, we'll talk about Ingrid and her great 30-year-old plan, and it's just as dumb. It's just as dumb as the government's plan. It's just as stupid. It's like, what? Really? That's what you're gonna? Okay, sure. That's just like that's something the show is just doing, and I think it's specific to adults. I think, and maybe that's part of the point, is that all the adults' plans are just bad. They're really bad. Why don't do this? You're dumb. Stop it.
+1 to that.
We also had Elisha, who says, I read a theory once about the citizens of Derry not just passively letting the children die, but actively sacrificing them, knowing the 27-year cycle. I feel like that could have been a better plot twist to delve with into the miniseries. So just wanted to point that out. I liked that, and I thought that was kind of a cool idea that like if we're going to dive into the rich tapestry of Derry and the history, there were different opportunities, perhaps arguably better things to explore and get into here. So I just wanted your thoughts on that one.
Oh, I like that a lot. I would have signed up for that immediately. That's way better. Oh man, tremendous. So
and
good.
Maybe that still is ultimately some of the reveal. It doesn't seem like we're going that way, but it's very possible that could still happen. Because yeah, I mean that would definitely. I mean, one thing I'm going to say this with the caveat that I understand that a bunch of masked men are about to burn down a black juke joint, but like. The show has not focused on the citizen of Derry as much as I thought it was going to. It definitely, we established it in like the first couple episodes, and then for the most part, we've kind of left it behind with one or two exceptions. So I think there was probably an opportunity to focus on Derry as a place and a character a little bit more in a show called Welcome to Derry.
You'd think. Whatever happened with that, we may never know.
Yeah. So, okay, here's the last comment we had from Dan, who says, here's my tinfoil hat idea. The meteorite fragments have no power over it, and the story of the glue is made up within the context of the show, I mean. But the collective belief of the children of Matern is what makes Pennywise vulnerable to the dagger and trapped within the cage. I think this is awesome, and I wish that that's what they were going to do, but I just don't think that is what the show is going to do. I would absolutely love it if that is like the 11th hour reveal of the season, but I don't know. What do you think?
Yes, Dan, get it. I love this. This is wonderful. It's so rich and deep, and the show is not smart enough. Dan is too cool. It just I love it. It would be such a rich, twisty twist. And I don't think they're smart enough to give that to us.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so funny. I agree with you. I see all these people like trying to come up with these like really complicated theories for how X is connected to Y and what they're doing with Z and how all like, and I just like, it's not that type of show to me. Like, and I'm not saying like that makes it a bad show. There are shows that deal in that kind of plotting and story, and then there's shows that aren't. And I think when Welcome to Derry is at its best is when it's like a silly, campy, kind of like doing like the 1950s, 1960s sci-fi nonsense stuff, and then also doing like the kids' natural chemistry with each other stuff. Like that is when the show is at its best. It's not at its best when it's doing this like complex plotting stuff. And I just want to be like, we're never going to get that. That's not what the show is. And I'm not even saying Dan is doing that here. Like that's not what I'm saying Dan is doing. But I've seen like people like bending over backwards to make Pennywise like this constant like genius planner just playing the long con on the entire town. It's like that's not how he operates. He just like hangs out and then like sees lonely kids and says, "Ooh, want a balloon? Okay, I'm gonna eat you." And that's like that's what he does. That's it. He's not a planner at all. He's like he's the Joker speech in The Dark Knight, but like for real. So I mean, there are definitely some planning happening in this episode, and I think we'll talk about that. That's some of the stuff I don't really love, but I just don't think that's the type of show that they're making, that we're going to have these things. I think the show is ultimately, at the end of the day, rather simple in what it's doing and saying. And that doesn't mean it's a bad thing, right? Like it's supposed to be a fun show. This is what it's doing, and that's fine.
Well said. Yes.
All right, let's get into the episode, Kim. Episode 6, In the Name of the Father. Where do you want to start? Where do we start with this thing? There's a lot. There's a whole lot. I guess we can start with one thing you pointed out to me, which is the intro music is getting creepier each episode. This is something like I thought I had picked up on like 4 episodes in, but I just wasn't confident enough to say anything about it ever. And I think we got a confirmation from the creators of the show that yes, they are intentionally like turning up the level of creepy music that slowly spreads into the jolly happy music over the course of the season. That's pretty neat. I like that.
Me too. I, of course, have joining many out there who really love the intro. I've memorized all the words. I'm so excited.
Oh,
And
wow. Okay.
only because it's the lyrics. The lyrics are so cute, Scott. They're just so adorable. Anyway, long story short, I am glad that it's not you or I going nuts. It is real because I don't know if I would have said anything unless I had it confirmed.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to know you're not going absolutely insane. Although maybe the show is trying to drive me absolutely insane. So, um, I guess to get into the actual meat of the show, though, I mean, we joked about it in the introduction, but the idea that everybody has daddy issues is like the name of the game for this episode. We are definitely focusing on father-child relationships across the board. We have Leroy and Will. We have Hank and Ronnie. We have, of course, Bob Gray and his daughter Ingrid, and Pennywise and Periwinkle. This is something that the show is definitely focusing on. And I mean, I guess even you can argue Lily and her father. You can argue I guess Marge not, but a majority of the characters in the show have issues with their father, longstanding issues, or we are inspecting and diving into their relationships. And I just like to start off on a positive note. I really like when in episodic television, especially when we're releasing the episodes week to week, I really enjoy when it's very clear that an episode is not just we carved 1 hour out of this 8-hour story, but it has a self-contained theme and main idea and thing it's exploring over the course of the episode. And I really appreciated how this episode did that. That is very clear we are highlighting and focusing on the complex relationships between parents and their children. And maybe that's a broader like goal of the season as well, but it was really highlighted and focused upon in this episode, and I enjoyed it overall.
Same. Yeah, it was really strong. It's really nice to connect all the fathers and children and how it's a dark, sad, complicated thing. My heart really
Yeah.
broke with the Hanlon tension this week. I think that they're getting it the most.
Yeah, and that's I think where my that's where my like compliments end, because I struggled with the Hanlons a lot this week, Kim. I really did.
Rightly so.
I feel like so the episode really begins with Will getting read the riot act from his father about what happened in the sewers, and he's like clearly still kind of shell shocked from it and zoned out, and is still like hearing the words of Pennywise in his head, and so it's very clear that this is still traumatizing to him, and his father is yelling at him and blaming him for the death of his partner. And this whole scene, so like, okay, this is something that I think the episode is working hard to do, is make Leroy seem like a kind of a piece of shit in this episode, across the board, right? I mean, the way he handles his son, he smacks his son, he's kind of being cold and not understanding of his wife. He gets in it with Dick Halloran a little bit, where Dick we talked I think a couple weeks ago about the idea of these two men need to stop hiding behind the idea of just following orders. And it seems like Dick and his experience in the sewers is just like, yeah, fuck that. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. But Leroy is still a man of the army, and he is still going to keep following those orders. He's still focused on the mission and what they have to do. And so we're definitely like doing work to make him like bring this divide between him and his son, and really emphasize how Leroy is on the wrong side of it and Will is on the right side of it. The problem with that, Kim, is I kind of am sympathetic to Leroy in a little bit. So, okay, let me clear here. Like, I don't hit my kid. I would never touch my children. I've never had like. I think we also this is writing from the perspective of 2025, when in like 1962 someone putting hands on their child was not as considered as gauche and horrible of a thing to do back then. It was relatively standard. But like what's happening in the scene is Leroy is like, you can't leave the base anymore, son. because I saw the thing that's out there hunting you, and I don't want you to die. And Will is basically saying, no, Dad, you taught me that my friends are important, so I'm going to go protect my friends. And damn what you had to say. And also, then he throws the fact that he shot his best friend back in his face. And so I'm just like, you need to tell me if I'm just wrong about this, but I feel like the show wants you to be on Team Will, because even Charlotte is on Team Will and say, Leroy, that was too far. You've lost it. You're like, we're not on your side at all in any of this. And I just can't help but be like, okay, don't hit your kid, but also don't let your kid go back into Derry, right? Right?
Yes, you are right. As much as I love Will, I love him so, so much. That was a step too far. I would have smacked him too. I would have. It's so terrible to admit, but oh my goodness, like those are fighting words. Those are fighting words. And yeah, he is being a good dad. He is being a good dad in that moment. You're not going out into this dangerous place that was just revealed to me. Oh, and you also can't talk to me like that and bring up the fact that I accidentally killed my best friend. I would have smacked him too. Terrible.
Yeah, I mean, and it is true that like it is not Will's fault that that Leroy's partner is dead, but like he was running around in the sewer, like, and he should not have been doing that. Like I think the thing I appreciated so much about it, even the movie, was this idea that like the kids have to solve all this stuff because none of the parents in this world notice or care or are aware of it. But the thing that the show has done is it's brought some of the parent characters into it. It's brought them into the understanding of what the stakes are, what the threats are. And so like in that world where like Leroy knows what's going on here, it's like, it's completely understandable that he would not want his son involved in that. And the idea of like, no, I have friends now, Dad, like in my mind of like, you've known these kids for like 2 weeks, son. You are my son. I am not letting you, like, I would not let my kid go into that town. I would just, and here's my real problem with it. I think Charlotte Hanlon takes a hit in this episode because of what they're trying to do with this divide between father and son, because Charlotte is like definitely on Team Will here. And I think in efforts to do that, in efforts to write her to be on Team Will, I feel like we've lost a little bit of who her character is. Like, for example, in my mind, even if it's 1962, I don't think Charlotte Hanlon lets anyone hit her kid. And I think she would jump into that moment immediately. And she just kind of stands by and lets Leroy do it. And there's been moments in the show so far where like she seems like this very outspoken, like not afraid to talk back to her husband, not afraid to push him on stuff, not afraid to plant and make what she wants and what she needs to do the priority in her life. And that just felt like a moment that she'd do this too. And she does it later. Like they have a whole moment later, but like in that moment I was just like, what are you doing, Charlotte? Like, why are you just standing there? I just don't believe, like, and I don't think we can hide behind like in a 1960s marriage the woman would not have stepped up like that. And I was like, I don't care about the 1960s. I think Charlotte Hanlon would have, like, the character that you have created for me in the show, I think she would have, and it felt weird that she didn't to me.
Oh, I'm so glad you talked about that. I think that's dead on. She would have gotten in his face about it immediately. And the fact that she doesn't, it doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only thing you could maybe argue is she didn't want to contradict him in front of Will. But then I think the scene where she confronts him about it should have happened the second he walks out the door. But that's the other part that I think is a little bit weird, because in this desire to paint Leroy as unreasonable and mean and cruel to his son, she is now acting like she's not at all concerned for his well-being. Like there's literally a moment in this episode where Lee walks in and asks his wife, "Where's Will?" And she says the phrase, "Probably with his friends." And I'm just like, there is a murder clown running around the city. We know it exists, and she just feels so cavalier about like where he is. It's like I understand. We see the moment where she like picks him and Ronnie up and brings him to the black spot, and really that was about bringing Ronnie to the black spot more than it was about Will. So like she's at least aware that they were hanging out at the black spot. But like I don't know, just like it feels so weird to me that to make her on the opposite side of Lee, we also have to make her kind of like a shitty mom. And I just like I don't agree with that character choice, essentially. Like, and this is just like not even I'm saying like an adaptive choice or whatever. This is just like the person that you established in the earlier episodes of the show is not behaving in the way that I believe they would right now. And that pulls me out of the show immediately, where I'm just like, if we're going to do this thing, if we're going to make these adults know what this is, we have to fully accept the consequences of that. And like one consequence is, yeah, no parent is going to let their kid out of their sight if they are fully aware of what's actually happening in this town. And so I don't know. I just couldn't get over that. I just really tried. I tried to sure whatever it, but that's one of the things I just could not get over. That like I loved Charlotte Hanlon as a character, and I feel like they've let her down a little bit here.
Yeah, this is a battle worth fighting. And I think you should teach a course called Authentic Character Writing, because you nailed it. This is, I wonder if it's like the HBO curse. You remember what happened to Daenerys Targaryen, Scott? I mean,
yeah.
They built up this queen, this dragon queen, for 7 seasons. And then in season 8, shits the bed, a stranger to us all. And I also felt like Charlotte was making all the wrong moves for her character. And that's not a fun feeling when you have such a powerhouse like her.
Yeah. It's tough because like I understand, like it's not like they just like forgot who the character was. I think they're just running up against like, we have all these pieces and we're trying to get everyone where they want to be and where they need to be, and weird stuff kind of falls out of it. Like for example, I didn't realize this until this episode, but they have said the phrase "the black spot" one time in the show, and that time was when Charlotte tells her husband that Hank Rogan is at the black spot. That is, she says, Hank Rogan is at the black spot. That's no one had called it that. And like, that's a weird, this is what I talk about when I mean like cutting room floor stuff, where I'm like, maybe there was an episode or a scene or something that established that this is what we call the place. This is like, we did the establishing of this is what it's going to be, but maybe there was a scene of like, this is what we call the place. And this is when maybe more of the black people in town learned about what it was, because like in this version of the story, the black spot, this is the first day of its opening. This is like the night of the flyer is essentially opening night for the black spot. And there's a lot of like, maybe they just ultimately looked at the pace of the show and said, we have to cut this stuff. People will know what the black spot is, and so we don't ever have to talk about it. But it does just leave, like, it's just never good when questions pop up into my head like that, where like Ingrid went to Charlotte for help on where to hide Hank, and Charlotte ditches him in the black spot, and I'm just like, did Charlotte know that the black spot existed? I didn't know she did, because it was like something that just the army, the Air Force guys were working on. And like, yes, technically Leroy went there once, so he could have mentioned offhand to his wife, it's like, yeah, I went and saw Dick and had to talk to him about this stuff, and he was building up this cool storage shed that they're going to turn into a bar, and that's really cool. Like that could have happened, but it doesn't happen in the show. And so like, those are weird things where like, I think individually they don't matter, but I just feel like they start to kind of snowball, where you just like lose, and it's little inconsistencies and weirdness like that starts to like becoming more and more distracting as things go on.
Yes, all the yes, and I have been feeling that feeling for a while now, and I think that's gonna be the one of the biggest issues I have with the show as a whole is those tiny little inconsistencies that she mentioned. One of the big ones I have with this show is when Rich is in the standpipe and he says, "That's what it wants. It wants to separate us," and I'm like, "Little baby." How do you know this? You don't know that. You guys have had two moments with the clown. Once in the graveyard, and it was
Yeah.
Emu Pennywise, and then just in the sewer. You don't have that foundation yet. You don't know that yet. So, yes,
Yeah.
+1 to the hatchet job editing and pasting that's going down. And then also they're revealing things that the characters don't know yet, or we don't see how they learned this information. This is sloppy, and I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, that whole conversation with Ronnie and Lily in that fight, I think is a perfect example of this because, like, in my mind, it's like, okay, it says here in the script now we need the kids to get in a fight and separate from each other. And so, like, I understand on principle that Ronnie was like primarily motivated in everything she's done so far to find enough evidence to get her father freed from prison. And the failure of their going down to the sewers to find evidence to free her father's name, and then also the idea that he's now on the run, he's broken out from confinement and is on the run, I think has fundamentally changed Ronnie's whole perspective on what they need to be doing and all that stuff. I get all that from a character perspective. I do not understand why she is so angry at Lily in this moment. It does not make sense that she just goes from 0 to 100 immediately and is so mad at her specifically. Because, like, I guess what we're trying to say here is it was Lily's idea to go down to the sewers. Lily pushed all of us into it, and, like, Ronnie was for it. Like, did Lily push, like, some of them into it? Certainly, yes. But, like, Ronnie was like, we can, like, if Phil's down there, he can prove my dad's innocent, so I'm gonna like, and that didn't work out. Yeah, but, like, I don't know. It just feels like the script says they have to fight now, so they're going to fight. And then on Lily's side, they're like, the rock, the kryptonite rock, is also like the one ring, and that it makes you bad. As I think that's what we're doing, right? Because in that scene, she, like, loses her mind when people touch it, and is like, there's that moment of when she gets really mad at Ronnie, she, like, grips it tighter, and even Marge clocks that she's, like, gripping the dagger tighter, ready to use it. And I'm like, are we really doing this? That, like, this is going to be not only kryptonite, but, like, the ring of power level, like, corruption of returning Lily evil. And maybe ultimately that's why Ronnie is so mad too, because it's like an aura of evil that is just making everyone nastier and meaner to each other. It's weird. It's weird.
I am not prepared for what they're doing with the dragon glass. I am really upset. I'm really upset because when you mentioned that Lily had rage, I don't know if I realized it the first watch, and then on the second watch I'm like, oh god, oh no. They're making her angry by holding it because she's really assertive. She screams so much in this episode, constant screaming. She's
Yeah.
really, really violent. She slashes Ingrid with it. I hate this, Scott. The Scott tribe said nothing about it giving you rage. I can't stand. I cannot stand.
I mean, maybe that's
for
why
that.
it's locked in a maybe that's why it's locked in a thing instead of they're just in their pocket. Because, like, if I'm in the middle of a cycle and the it monster is running around, I know I live outside of Derry, but I would still carry the dagger with me at all times. And maybe that's why they don't, because it turns them bad. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
Gross. We didn't get this in the origin story. Stop.
I also think it's really funny how, like, nobody at school notices she's got this giant sharp rock. I mean, I know this was like pre the school shooting, like, epidemic that rages in our country, and so we are a lot more conscious of weapons in school. But she like stands up and like holds the dagger menacingly, yelling at her desk, and all the teacher says is, "Sit down, Lily Bainbridge." It's like glowing, and it's sharp, and she's holding it, and nobody cares. Nobody cares about it at all. It's just great stuff.
As an instructor, granted, I've never taught grade school. I'd rather choose death, but not because the students, it's mostly the parents. But anyway, the instructor would 1000%, the first words out of her mouth would be like, "What the hell is that? Come to the front of the class. What is that you have?"
This is so. The dagger and the conversation around the dagger is actually one of the moments that I caught in my first viewing, to be honest, that I'm like, oh, you like carved up this scene, and what we're seeing is something left of a remnants of a scene. And it is this dialogue exchange. I'm going to read this for you. I copied it down exactly to make sure I got it right. This is unedited, the dialogue in a multi-million-dollar HBO show. Will says, "Those look like hieroglyphs." Rich says, "I thought those were Egyptian." Will says, "All ancient civilizations have hieroglyphs. It's a Greek word." And then Lily says, "Exactly. Whatever it is, if this thing is scared of it, maybe we can use it."
Oh no.
Huh? What do you mean exactly, Lily? And she's looking at Rich as she says it, as if Rich just said something and she's responding to Rich. And Rich is also at that moment like touching the blade of the dagger and feels that it's sharp. So like I guarantee there was at least one line in there where Rich like touches it, feels its sharpness, and then responds to the fact that it's sharp. Maybe he calls it a weapon. Maybe he says something about it's some sort, it looks like a knife or something that Lily can then say exactly to. But they cut that line out of the show and left everything else the same. And it's just one of those moments of just like little sloppiness, little inconsistencies that just like rip me right out of the show. It's a Greek word. Exactly. What does that have to do with Pennywise being scared of it? What? Huh? Why are you exactlying that it's a Greek word?
Good observation. My gosh.
And again, like in like a microcosm, who cares, right? Like that doesn't matter. But like it just, things are starting to stack on top of each other with me in the show. There's also a little bit in the Ingrid scene, which is just like kind of sloppy editing, where they use the same shot of her stepping backwards off the carpet in Ingrid's attic when she's walking away from Ingrid. They use that same insert shot twice, because once she steps back from Ingrid when she sees the Pennywise picture, and then Ingrid steps forward and then kneels back down before her as she says her whole story. And then when she finishes the story, Lily backs up again to get away from her further. And and like the thing about inconsistencies in this stuff is like, it's not that they didn't catch it. They obviously caught it, right? These are people that are staring at the same pieces of footage. It's just that they were like, okay, now she backs up, and they realized they didn't get a take of her backing up again. They like when they were setting up the scene, they were doing their shots and they were doing all their coverage. They didn't get another shot of her backing up again, but they wanted to still do the insert shot to really sell that she's backing up. And so they were just like, let's just use the other one again. Nobody will notice. Well, I did. I noticed.
Scott and his bionic peepers. He's got it.
But like, I want to be clear here that like that in and of itself, who cares, right? And all these things in and of themselves, who cares? But it's like, I think it starts to build on top of each other in a way that's like something happened during production of the show or in post-production of the show that they really had to take a tool to it. And we're kind of seeing the remnants of the salvage job. And that is, I think, part of the problem of some of the writing is not that, as I think you said earlier, it's not that like the writing is in and of itself bad. It just feels like it's missing pockets and pieces and parts to it, because those were carved out and they had to kind of find a way to stitch what remains together.
Very much so. And you said something that made me think of Tetris, the stacking. And I'm like, that's it. That's it. Scott nailed it. We are at the level in Tetris where it's gone too far. The tower is too tall and we're going to lose. And that's how I feel this episode. It's too many inconsistencies stacked on top of each other. We are in a Tetris doom level.
Oh, that's a great. I like that. I like that imagery. That's all I'm going to be thinking about next week. I think we have to get to like the biggest moment of the show, I think, which is we learn about Ingrid, and what's been going on there. And I guess I could officially say I was wrong in my prediction last week, right? Like I predicted that I think she was going to be perhaps a reluctant ally of Pennywise. It's a little more complicated than that. What I am is very happy that it's not just simply she was evil, and that's the reveal is like, oh, Ingrid's evil. The show is making it more complicated than that, and I appreciate that part. So I actually just I want to get your take on this. Like, how'd you feel about all this Ingrid stuff?
On the first watch, I think I was stuck on how I should feel about Ingrid because the data we have, the lines she's spoken to us over the past few episodes, I can't find blatant duplicity. So I trust her. And so then the internet's telling me not to trust her. And so then I was going in a zillion different directions. And then you mentioned how it is kind of I think I was just craving any kind of normalcy. I was like, just tell us you're evil. Just reveal your evil card, please. Just reveal that, please, because I'm over it. I'm just over the guesswork. But after the couple more watches, I am pleased. And I agree with you. I think it's nice that it is a little bit ambiguous. But then when we actually learn her motivations, it's kind of out of a pure heartbroken place, which was somewhat touching. And even though it's absolutely batshit nuts, I liked it.
Yeah. It's super dumb. But relatable. I think I agree with you. Like the idea that she's just desperate to have her father back and is willing to do whatever it takes. Now, how that actually plays out and makes sense within the show itself. Like I think we again, like we're kind of working backwards in a lot of the stuff. Like we decided we were going to do a different clown, and we decided we were going to trick people that you think this is Pennywise, but this isn't actually Pennywise. I think that was like the first decision, and then they had to kind of backfill to how we get there. And so like there's a lot of lines in the show that are like, and he'll see me in my periwinkle outfit, and then and only then he'll remember and come back to me. And it's like that's a lot of like putting like work down and like laying path and laying floor to like retroactively explain this thing that we established first. But other than that, like I get it, and I actually really liked the flashback sequences to the 1930s. I think those are not only being like black and white with the very high contrast with the red seeping in, but I think they were shot differently. And actually, I'm glad I watched the like post trailer thing again, because the director of this episode talked quite a bit about those scenes, and he said, yeah, we shot them differently. The camera in the 1960s version moves a lot more freely. We do a lot more handheld, and they do. And the 1930s, we specifically tried to like establish like, cameras were bigger in the 30s, and so we can't move the camera around quite as freely, and so the camera was more stationary, and we had these more stationary shots, and like that makes the sequence feel different. It feels like a different show. It feels like something out of like a black and white like sanitary story, which is what we're telling here. And so I thought all those moments, I mean, with the exception of like Pennywise once again doing his like fast run, like I just like I am so sick of that particular affect that I just like it doesn't work on me at all. But like every other part of the scene I thought was great. Like the stuff between them at the door when Skarsgård has to play the Bob Gray version of himself, and like his reaction when he realizes that this is the daughter of of that guy I killed 30 to 27 years ago. Man, like I thought all that worked really, really well.
I loved it too. Aesthetics work so well for me. And like you said earlier, it's one of the reasons I really love the show. It looks great all the time. It is firing on all cylinders when it comes to that. And I love that we have this black and white film noir moment at the beginning of the episode, and then at the end of the episode, you kind of sandwich them together and we learn a lot more. I am so curious though, when it's Papa and he's talking to her through the glass, and then she opens the door and we don't see 3 deadlights, we just see one in her pupils. And so I'm really curious if Galoo treated her very different because she's very, very unique and special to his story, or if she got a special kind of deadlight experience, because she doesn't seem, like you mentioned, she doesn't seem to be getting the Bowers treatment where she's all in all the time, absolutely consumed. I don't know. It seems like she gets a dose and she's always looking for the next hit, which is why she's plugging in the Periwinkle outfit and stalking the kids and Lily's betrayal.
Yeah. Like, it seems like she knows Pennywise is bad and evil, or should I say it? Not she knows it is bad and evil, and she's fully aware that she's like feeding children to it, and that's wrong. But she's just like, but this is the way I get to see my dad again, and I've decided that that's worth it. Which I think is a lot more interesting than just like the Bowers treatment, like you said. Like it is true that it has historically like used people to do some of the stuff it wants to do. That is definitely true. That happened in the book. There were 3 occasions. And the Bowers is the one that got the most attention, but Bev's husband Tom comes back also. But like it does feel different. It feels different in a really interesting way. And I actually had a thought. I want to see what you think about this, because I think a question you and I have kind of been asking back and forth over the last few weeks is like, what does this show do going forward after this season? And like, we know we're going to go back to 1935, and then we know we're going to go back before that to 1908 or whatever. And like, what are we going to do? Is this going to be one story told over these 3 seasons or not? And the thing that I've convinced myself of now is that what we're doing actually is putting Ingrid kind of at the center of this whole thing, because we know she was there in 1935. I'm assuming this actress that they've hired to play the 1935 version of her is going to just be that character in season 2. And then we know she was also there in 1908 as a little girl. And so like the connecting thread of this show is Ingrid and Pennywise. And so I'm guessing, I mean, that's the big question, is like, in these final 2 episodes, are we going to see what happened in the moments right after Ingrid opened to that door? Or are we just going to see like, she's going to show up at the black spot, it's not going to work out the way she wants it to, as the black spot burns. But the answers of like what's going on with that relationship are going to be left open, because I think ultimately what the show is building to, in my estimation, that's not a word. But what I think the show is building to is ultimately at the end of the final season, we are going to find out why it is Pennywise. Like why it likes this form so much, or finds itself in this kind of central form so much. That's what I think the show is ultimately doing. It's kind of like Pennywise's origin story ultimately. And the title "It Welcome to Derry" becomes different, because it's like welcome to Derry. Here, this is how Pennywise comes to be in Derry. I don't know.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Can I just say though, I don't care. I don't care why it looks like the clown. I don't care. Like, I just like, and like, I like, I'm not going to judge the show for what I think it's doing, because like this, we're talking like 5 years down the road from now. But if this ultimately is like the goal of the show is that we're going to use Ingrid as this connecting force between the three timelines, and Ingrid and Pennywise, and this relationship, like who is Bob Gray, who was Pennywise the dancing clown, why? If this is like the connecting force of the show, I'm gonna be a little disappointed because I just don't care. And like I know that's a personal preference, right? That's me, but I don't care about Pennywise's origin.
Oh, Scott, I love this so much. think this I think this is brilliant. I just think Pennywise has so many fans. He is a billion-dollar face, and I think one of the key moments here is Andy Muschietti almost cornered Steve and said, well, what about this? What about that? And Steve's like, bro, I don't know. And I think Andy felt so excited and compelled that he gets to do a fan fiction on the origin of Pennywise, and he gets to do that with this show. And so all of the Pennywise fans get this fan fiction origin story. That's and you and I and many book readers out there, we don't care. It doesn't matter. But it's fan service for the clown.
But like, and let me just say, I recognize that I'm probably in the minority in this, that like a lot of people get really excited and jazzed about this stuff. And like, there's probably people out there listening that just said, Scott, I think you're right. I think this is what the show is doing, and I can't wait. And that's totally fine. Like I am not passing judgment, nothing there, but it's just like, on a personal preference, like that's just not a project I'm really excited to get on board with. And maybe I'm just wrong, right? Like could just be totally wrong. And 10 years from now, I'm like, no, they went a completely different way with it. And I dug it. But I don't know. It just feels like if I'm thinking of like, what's the connecting thread between these three seasons. And I gotta say, if it is Ingrid, ultimately, that's ballsy. Of the, like to hinge your 3-season thing on this character who is a throwaway like name in the book, a part of one scene in a movie, a good scene, but one scene, and to say, okay, we're gonna hinge our whole project on this character, that's pretty ballsy. And the character is not Pennywise, it's Ingrid Kirsch, who like I don't know, like, man, a respect for thinking you could do that, like totally.
The only way I could see it working, or an idea that I hope I see executed, unknown. I've stopped having hope lately, Scott, and I'm okay with it. But circling back to Ingrid, one of the most compelling lines she says to Lily is, I had to do what I had to do. And she says it so matter-of-factly. And she cries and she says it was him, and he was changed, of course, over the years. But there's a real loss there. There's a real love and beauty there, which I was not expecting, and I was surprised by it. So if they somehow manage to weave a tale that is authentically a father-daughter family love story that was lost, that would work for me. That would tick some boxes in a compelling way that I would be surprised if they executed it well. Because I hate Pennywise. I hate, I'm not a fan. I mean, I am, just like everybody else, but like, he is a monster to me. I understand who he is, and I'm not cheering for him. I'm always cheering for the kids. That's how it's always been. But if they somehow made me look at Pennywise and see a loving Bob Gray, and not a creepy monster Bob Gray, but a loving dad that got lost somehow. Okay, you'd get my attention.
Yeah, that's totally fair. If they make Bob Gray a compelling character in his own right, like I'm going to be on board, even if I don't care why Pennywise decided that he was going to be him primarily after he kills him, which is we're all assuming is what happened. We don't actually know, but yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair thing to say, that like they are putting in the work in this season to set up her understandable yet still monstrous reaction to this whole thing. and she's, I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Like, do you think she's dead by the end of the season? Like, do you think she goes, sees him in the periwinkle costume, and Pennywise just like laughs at her and is like, "You dummy! Like, you thought this was gonna work?" Or it's like, "This town's not big enough for this is a one clown town," and then he eats her.
Oh, that's such a great question. I don't know, because I feel this is such a unique interaction between Pennywise with an adult. He sees little Mabel and he focuses in on Mabel, and then she says Papa, and then he looks at her and he goes, "Oh," his Krusty the Clown moment there. I did a terrible impression. But anyway, and I'd like to think to myself, like, this seems very unique, this Pennywise adult woman interaction. And rather than Pennywise show her what she's afraid of, he showed her what she wanted most out of life. So all of that's so compelling to me. Like, wow, this is unique. This is all unknown territory. So I actually don't know, Scott. I have no idea what they're going to do with it. If he's just going to rip her throat out, or if he's going to give her, if Bob Gray really is in there. I don't know. This is kind of a cool thing.
Would you be excited or disappointed if none of that is resolved in these next 2 episodes and it's clearly just like a hook for the next season?
I think I'd be a little bummed, because I bought the carrot. I definitely followed it, but at the same time, I have zero faith in this show, Scott. So I would be like, oh, okay, I'm being bamboozled again. Got it. Cool.
Yeah. I'm really interested. Like, I could definitely see a way that it just like, we obviously, I think we'll see like how the Periwinkle and Pennywise, like, we will see, I think, them see each other. I'm assuming that it will be at the black spot as it burns. As you said last week, it was in bird form in the book, so maybe we'll get a bird. But I think we're going to see resolution of that particular plot. But I don't think we're going to see resolution of like, this is what happened in that basement and at that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think they're going to give us a lot of that. I think that if they're smart, they'll just tuck it away to next season.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I think that brings us to the black spot, though, Kim. And so I don't even know where to begin with this. So I guess how did you feel about how the black spot was depicted and handled in this episode, and I guess in the show, essentially, because we're at the moment of it getting set on fire. I'm guessing it's going to happen in next episode, right? Oh.
So I really enjoyed all the music, all the dancing. I like that we have a very vivid, lively, all that. I thought it would be grittier, though. It seemed very sweet. I don't know.
Maybe because there were children present.
Probably. Scott, I'm really upset about that. I am really mad that they're there. I get it. But like, I don't know. My inner maternal instinct is like, get the hell out of here. This is dangerous. You're going to see things. You're going to hear things. They're going to spill beer on you. You should not be here. So I really hate that the show did this. I understand they had to plot wise. They absolutely backed themselves into a corner. They absolutely had to do this. But oh man, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that we got it, that it was up and running. We got to see it. It was there. People are grinding and the hooch is being slung. I was thrilled. But at the same time, I'm like, the kids kind of took the magic away from me. I'm like, get out of here, children.
Well, I mean, for me, it's just a problem of like, of tone and like what kind of show you want it to be. Like the black spot is a place of it's a hate crime. It is a horrifying hate crime that a group of white people come burn this place down in the books, literally just because like they were having too much fun. And like it was such a fun place that, oh my God, white people were going to, and that's just the Derry white decency town. Like, I forget what the group is called, just couldn't stand that. So it's literally this horrific hate crime. And like, that is bumping up against, I think, some of the tone of the show, which is reflecting some of the tone of the movies, which is like, we have these fun moments with the kids. And like, look, everything, we haven't said this yet, everything Marge and Rich in this episode is incredible. I love it to death. It's like some of my favorite stuff in the show. I think those two little kids are killing it. Like, they both clearly like each other, and every scene works. I it's great. I want to talk in more detail with you about that after this point, but I love all that stuff. But that is bumping up against this darker thing that we're doing with the black spot, and it feels, I think both those things can exist in the same show. It feels weird to me that they're essentially going to exist within the same moment. And I agree with you. Like, I'm not like a teetotaler, but like, the idea that this man spiked the drinks of two 12-year-old children makes me feel a little uncomfortable. And the abject silliness of a guy seeing some drumsticks in Rich's back pocket and saying, "Hey, sticks, do you know how to play?" Like, I had forgot that Rich was even a drummer. Like, I asked you this question, then went back and watched the first episode, and we saw, like, he's in his band uniform and he's got a drum sitting. Like, I had totally forgotten that. Like, I don't even know, listeners, call me out on this, but like, I didn't even know he like carried drumsticks around. Maybe that's something the show focused on at some point. I don't remember it if it did, but like, he just happens to have drumsticks in his back pocket. The guy sees it, and he like, "Hey, it's a Back to the Future moment. Essentially, it's Back to the Future," and it just felt so in the moment weird to me, knowing what is about to happen, knowing the point of this place, knowing what it represents and what's going on here, and like, it just felt a little weird to me. And like, I don't know, like the individual moments of it, like Marge saying she loves Air Force Coke and like doing her little 60s dance, like all that, like, I loved, but yeah, it just, I don't know, it just felt strange to me.
Yeah, valid. It's a weird mashup, because you're right. I'm so glad that you reminded me that this is the scene of a very horrific hate crime, because I think everybody who saw Sinners this year in 2025 were like, yeah, juke joint. And so I kind of had that in mind with the black spot. And I just remember the good parts. I forget in the novel. I mean, of course, no one really forgets. Of course, we know it's tragic ending. But I wasn't focused on that in the moment when there's dancing and a scatting and all this great wonderful lively stuff, and then it's just tainted by the kids, who are precious, but it's like, guys, I am so uncomfortable by how this made me feel.
I mean, part of the tragedy of the black spot is that it was this rollicking, awesome, good time. That it is this place where these people felt like they could truly just be themselves and be free. Like, these are people living in an area that like is at best tolerant of their existence, but like, they still feel like they have to be on guard 24/7. And so it represented this place that could be theirs. That's why it's called the black spot. It is the spot for black people. It is their spot. And it could be theirs, and they could be. So like, I think it's important that the show depicts this and shows us this. And I do think, while quick, I think it did a good job of that. We get the past. I think it is an unfortunate coincidence that Sinners came out this year. I've seen some people online saying like, "Oh, Welcome to Derry ripped off the first half of Sinners," and like, that shows a complete ignorance to how long television production takes. Like, this scene was shot over a year ago. So like, no, it did not rip off of Sinners, but it's unfortunate timing, because I think we did see Sinners do something very similar to what they're trying to do here. And frankly, it just did it better. And so we all have freshly in our mind this comparison point where Sinners did a really wonderful, wonderful job doing something very similar to what they're doing here and did it better. So that's not the fault of Welcome to Derry. That's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. But I do wish it, like, that they maybe allowed the black spot to exist as a place for longer
Yeah.
before they destroyed it. Like,
Yeah.
I was looking back over the episodes, and it's like it got introduced to us first time in episode 4. Episode 4, we see it, we hear Dick's plans of it. We don't see it at all in episode 5, and then it's back here in episode 6, completed and opened, and then it's going to be destroyed. And I do wish we had gotten more time, like getting to see the men and women that go here and enjoy this place, like really come to understand its significance in their lives and the freedom it represents for them. I wish we had gotten a little bit more of that before we destroyed it, but that's not the way it's happening.
Same Z's. They could have made a different choice. Who knows why they couldn't? I'm sure their hands were tied in one way or another. But rather than Dick Halloran asking General Shaw, hey, buddy, do you got a place for us? I wish it could have already been established and we could have just walked right into it and it was lived in and wild and free. I think that would have been so much nicer and we could have felt the passage of time a little bit. We would have realized, oh, this thing didn't come up overnight. It's this place in Derry, as you mentioned, a place of freedom, a place of leisure and privacy for this community that's been so ostracized. So I agree. I really wish we would have had more time. I wish different choices could have been made.
I also, on the other side of this, we also like handle like the like rising up of the Derry white mob in basically one montage, and like it's a good montage. They use the song "Running Scared" for it, which Roy Orbison's "Running Scared," which like the needle drops in the show are like across the board great.
Amazing.
Like they're making very good choices there. I love it, but I couldn't help but be a little disappointed that like the riling up of Derry basically happens over the course of like a 3-minute montage, and it's like that's what we do is like we show people looking at wanted posters, and then suddenly they're having guns, and then suddenly they're meeting, and then suddenly we've basically formed a riot. And this is kind of what I mean about like the ways in which like Derry at large has kind of disappeared in the show at times. Is I wish we could have maybe like slow rolled the escalation of this stuff over time. And I think we tried to do that, like with the guy, the father of the kids that died, like showing up at Hank's transfer. Like we're trying to do that. We're trying to show that, but I don't know. Like that was my feeling in the moment as I watched the montage. Was like, oh, so we like this is it. This is where we're going. Like this is the montage that establishes the white folks of Derry are about to riot, and that's it.
Yeah, 100%. 100% agree. It's a tricky thing. It's definitely I wish in general we could have more of the city being observed. I think that they gave us a little bit and then we get a little tiny montage, but they're not spending time on characters we don't know, which is sad because we want to see.
Yeah.
It's okay if we're not following these people or we never see them again. You're wanting to show the city as a whole, but are they? I don't know.
We do see that Mr. Kirsch is part of the riot group, though, so we did call that correctly. That this man who was strangely nice to Charlotte when she first appeared in Derry is now one of the lead guys that's going to burn down the black spot. And this, so I want to talk to you about this because I think this may be a little bit delicate, and I want to make sure we do a good job with it. But I'm curious about your reaction to the choice to make the instigating moment of the black spot fire the fact that Hank Grogan is hiding out there. Because I think it kind of changes the dynamic of the black spot and the black spot fire a little bit when you do it this way. I'm curious what you think.
That's a great point. Yeah, you're right. Because it's not overtly racist in the show. It is, but according to them, it is, of course. But they're on a manhunt. They're doing their civil duty, or civic duty. That's the word. They're doing their civic duty of seeking out injustice and an escaped convict. That's who they're going after. And so,
Yeah.
that's a really great point. It changes everything.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's be clear here. The reason why Hank Rogan is a suspect is because he's black. The reason why this group of people is so up in arms about his escape and continued, like, evasion of law is because he's black. And I think ultimately the reason why they're going to burn the black spot down is because it's a place for black people, right? Like, I think those things are still true, but I do think, like, the idea that these people come to this place because they think a guy that is wanted for murder is there, and the guy that is wanted for murder is actually there. He's there. This is not like we assumed he was there because this is where all you black people hang out, and so we're going to burn it down whether or not he's there or not. No, he's there. That's where he is. That does change some of the complexion of a little bit, because, like, again, in the book, it was just because this group of people grew to hate this place, because how dare they be happy? How dare they have a place that people are having more fun than our place? And it was just like this, like, slow building, like, jealousy and rage, fun, like, primarily like like pushed by their racism. And that's what it was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think it ultimately lessens it. And again, I think what the show will probably do is just the decision to actually just burn the place down is going to just come from a place of racism. But I was like, I was a little, I wasn't surprised that we went this way. Like, actually, like, when the show said, oh, Hank's going to be at the black spot, I was like, oh, of course we should have predicted that. That's just what they're going to do. But I was like, oh, that does change how the fire starts, though, a little bit.
It does. It very much does. I want to give a quick shout out to constant readers out there who caught a very big King Easter egg if you watched the preview for episode 7.
Oh, I
my
did
gosh.
not.
Oh my goodness, Scott. Okay, well, it's very small, but what I'm
Is it a bird?
I would freak out if it was. I would have blown up your phone immediately if it was. But no, I'm going to give you the quote, and I want you to tell me if you know what it is. I think it's Bowers with his mask on, and he's announcing the crowd. I think he might be inside the black spot, and he says, "Give us what we want, and we'll go away." Do you know what that is in reference to?
No, I don't. Please educate me.
Oh my God, Scott. Okay. So in 1999, there was perhaps one of the greatest Stephen King miniseries called Storm of the Century.
Oh, this is a Storm of the Century. Yeah, okay.
And the villain
I hear it now, yeah.
Yes! The villain is Andre Linoge, who announces to the town of Little Tall Island, "Give me what I want and I will go away." So I heard that and I flipped out. I flew off my couch. I loved that so much. So, constant readers, that was for us. That's like a juicy Easter egg. So I was really happy about that.
Of course, I think in Storm of the Century, like, that statement was true. And in Welcome
sadly.
to Derry, I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Correct. Sadly, that agreement will not be honored. That is not going to be honored.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how it goes. Like, if ultimately, like, we watch it and we feel like, I mean, we talked about this in the first few episodes of the season, right? That it seems like they were going with a place of more subtextual racism than overt racism, and we reasoned why that was, and even the black spot seems to like the reason all these men are here, they're all white, and the reason they're here is racism. But, like, the show, the book was very overt with that racism, and the show is not doing that. And we talked about that a bunch, so we don't have to relitigate that. But it was just like, oh, doesn't that change a little bit the meaning of what this thing represents in the town?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it does a little bit. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you a follow-up question with what you were talking about in terms of not having enough time with the black spot. Do you think we don't have enough time with what the show is trying to do by making Derry seem nice? It seems like the direction the show is going is that Derry is, on the outside, a rosy, sweet, accepting, wholesome place. It is not that in real life. So that's
Yeah.
contrary to the Derry in the novel, of course, which is rotten from the start for the most part. So do you feel like we don't have enough time for that idea to be rooted down with viewers?
That's a good question. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think it's like you wonder like how much when we say a question like that is like, okay, well, how much time is enough time, right? Because
Right.
like we do have the early parts in the show with Charlotte walking through Derry and like feeling like the kindness, but also feeling the feelings that things were off, and a lot of like the subtextual discomfort that she had. And we've had Leroy feel that way at times as well. I think honestly part of this is the fact that for all of the kids except for Will, we are pretty ignorant of their home life. I mean, I guess we know Lily's father is dead, right? And like Lily's mom, we've seen Lily's mom at least. We haven't seen Rich's parents. We haven't seen Marge's parents at all. Ronnie's father is kind of, but like I think the idea, like one of the central ideas in the book at least of how depicting how Derry was this bad place is that like it's even our parents like don't understand what's happening to us, and that was this major disconnect for the kids, and this major like thematic core of the book, which is that like sometimes being a kid is so scary and so isolating that like even the people that are supposed to protect you the most cannot understand what you're experiencing and what you're going through.
Right.
And so like the choice to like kind of remove to focus the only parents we spend the most time with are Will's parents, and those two are people that happened to know more about Pennywise than like any parent in the history of the story has. Essentially, I think damages our ability to like depict Derry, because like when I think about your question, what I'm thinking in my head is like, okay, what scene do I need to see then that establishes this more? Is like, do we need to have the kids like seeing the creepy pharmacist like we did in the book, or like running up against, like, do we need to see them going into town and like interacting with adults more? And I was like, well, no, I don't know if we need that, but like it's like, where could we do it? And it's like the place we could do it is the parents, because like I do think we talked about the wonderful Marge and Rich stuff, but like in the back of my head is like, where the fuck are their parents? Like Marge is sitting at the standpipe at night changing her bandage, and like I think it's a valid question to say like, why isn't her mom helping her with that? And like Rich is
Yeah.
also just there, you know, like launching airplanes, because his whole arc in the show is whether or not he can get an airplane from the standpipe to Main Street. Which, if the ending of the show doesn't involve him successfully doing that, I'm going to be really disappointed, by the way. But like, I don't know. It's like, again, it's this thing that's there. Like, it would be an untrue statement to say that the show has not established that Derry is filled with people that seem to prefer to look the other way, or, or don't care, or are ignorant or blind to what's really happening. Like the show has had scenes doing that, but it doesn't. Yeah, it ultimately in episode 6 doesn't feel that it's done enough of that to me.
Yeah. It was dusk at the standpipe. It was dark. Why weren't they at home? Does she not have a bathroom to change her eye dressing? You're supposed to go home when the streetlights are out, Scott. What is going on with these kids?
I mean, it's the 60s, Kim. This is just what you did in the 60s. You just went
You're
out at
right.
all hours of the night. You just changed your bandage in a dirty old abandoned standpipe.
Oh my god. You right. I forgot.
I mean, this is like, to be honest with you, like, this is one of those moments of contrivance and construction that I don't care about, because the scene between those two characters was so wonderful. But
So
like,
cute.
she's at the standpipe changing her bandage because she needs to be somewhere where Rich can bump into her. Like that's the why of it, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, so we'll just do it here. By the way, my favorite line: I've always wanted to be a pirate.
Oh.
From coming from Marge. Really? You've always wanted to be a pirate? Really? Sure. Whatever.
Oh, so good. Oh dear. It was so cute. They had such great lines between the two of them. It was magical.
Yeah. It's okay. Spit has antiseptic properties. I don't think that's true. Who knows?
No.
Science is changing all the time. Ask Will. It's all great. It's all great.
So cute. So cute. I like her reaction. She's like, "Ew, are you spitting on me? Is that your spit?" Very, very classic.
And then she gets her moment, right? We have the moment with the patty cakes where we could like in a different show, she
Yes.
kind of succumbs to the peer pressure and goes back with them and abandons her new friends. But no, she completes the face turn by ripping her bandage off and snarling like a pirate at the patty cakes.
I loved it. A very public defiance. I was thrilled. Thrilled that
Yeah.
that happened and that she's not going back.
Also, like the patty cakes just suck, right? Like
Yeah.
they used Ricky Ricardo as an insult.
Right?
Come on.
Why would you
No human being is going to be insulted by being called Ricky Ricardo.
zero?
Oh, so I'm charming and good looking and can sing and dance? Yeah. Fuck me, huh?
Exactly. Oh my goodness. I love that Rhonda choked on her gum. I'm becoming so awful, Scott. I'm really becoming a hateful person. I'm wishing people harm who I feel wrong me in this show. I'm thrilled that Rhonda started choking.
I don't think the patty cakes are gonna make it out of this season
Ooh,
alive.
yeah. Yeah, good call.
I did see some trailer stuff that shows them screaming in fear. So I think we're heading that direction. I don't know how though, but I think we're heading that direction with them.
It tracks. Sorry.
Let's talk about Dick Halloran. We haven't talked about Dick yet.
Yay! Oh
Just,
my god, huge
it's
fan.
all still working on me.
Yes. Why is he the best? Magical.
I think at least a little bit of it is Chris Chalk, the actor, who is just continuing to he clearly understands this character in every way and is continuing to nail it. But so we get Kim a little explanation of the box. Basically, you and I were correct last week in our assumption that like
Yep.
he locked the ability to see dead people in the box, not just one dead person, all the dead people.
I felt really good about that. I liked that one.
Mm-hmm. And they're out now, and he's seeing them everywhere. And I love the way we film him. It's like we use like a Coke bottle lens or something on him to have this like really dramatic lens effect every time he's seeing people. It's really creepy. He's kind of zoned out of it, and he's in I don't give a fuck mode anymore. And
I love
it.
Same. He has my favorite moments of the episode. I think they're just so strong. He takes over, steals the scene. It's just so great. I love. He and Leroy, their dialogue between the two of them was my favorite part of the episode.
It was so good. It was
Yes.
so good. Everything about that, like, and this, like, we talked about the show is not doing a great job at making me think Leroy's being a bad guy. This is the exception to that, where this scene between the two of them draws the line between the two of them very, very clearly. Like Leroy is still very much like a company man. Like Dick calls him a bootlicker, right? And yeah, like the idea that like the way this whole scene plays out is Dick tells this very traumatic story of his childhood where like, I see dead people and I figured a way to lock them up. And then down in those sewers, he unlocked that. And now I'm seeing them everywhere. And then Leroy's immediately like, oh, they can help us find where the pillars are, huh? Because that's still like the idea. It is so, I think it's an interesting, but ultimately great choice that the Native American tribe and General Shaw do not show up in this episode at all. They're not here 1 minute of it. And the reason is because I think for some of the characters like Dick, the idea that we are still going to do the stupid catch Pennywise plan is so dumb and so beyond the pale that like it just would feel out of place in this episode. But then Leroy comes into the scene and like drops it back onto our laps really quick. It was like, oh, by the way, new orders from General Shaw. We're going back. We're going back in. And then immediately like, oh, couldn't your power be used to talk to the dead people to get their help? And he just finished telling them that like, if you acknowledge the dead people, they like will ruin your life. and yet Leroy's just like, fuck it. Like the mission. We got to think about the mission, man.
These two guys, they just clash so hard. And my heart just broke for Dick in this scene because he's so vulnerable and so desperate. And he's trying to articulate to the smallest degree, like, do you have any idea what this is like? Do you have any conceivable idea how horrible this is? I am on the floor drunk. I can't even function, bro. And you want me to follow orders. You just want me to fall in line. And I just love the script for this moment was real tight. I'm very pleased. It was great.
Mm-hmm. That's like, this is what I mean when we talk about like what happened in the like putting together of the show, because there are moments and things like this where, yeah, it's just like everything here is working. Everything is doing what it needs to. It's conveying it perfectly. We're clear on character. We're clear on, and then all the great production and technical stuff in the background is enhancing it. And it's just like, how is this in the same 50 minutes as like some of this other stuff where you're just like, man, how does that happen? I don't know. It's the magic of filmmaking sometimes.
Right? Yeah, I'm with you. How can it go so right and then so wrong within minutes?
Yeah.
It's frustrating, Scott. It's really frustrating.
Can I tell you one of my other favorite lines that I just remembered?
Why, yes.
When we're in the flashback sequence in 1935 and that poor little girl is explaining about Pennywise, I just love the doctor just nonchalantly saying, there are no such things as clowns and pipes.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's just like, that's how he's dealing with her clear mental health issues is, silly girl, there's no such things as a clown and a pipe. Sucks.
Oh dear, why was she there? Why are the kids in Juniper Hill in 1935? What's going on? There was a lot of them.
There was a lot of children in Juniper Hill. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. Like, maybe it's like we didn't know about ADD yet, so anytime people were having some attention, we just sent them to Juniper Hill. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
And then via Mrs. Kirsch, they got fed to Pennywise.
Oh God. And all their hair got chopped off, all fugly. It was real tragic. Gosh. Oh my goodness. Whatever was going on in Juniper Hill, shake my head. Good grief.
So next week, we are getting the Black Spot Fire. Who, Kim, is dying and who is not dying?
Oh man, I sadly think, well, I think probably a lot of people are going to die, which is going to be very sad. But at the same time, I'm wondering because, as you mentioned, Hank Grogan has really thrown off the balance of the Black Spot, right? So maybe, because Dick's there, maybe he saves everyone. And there is no death, minus a couple white masked devils who had it coming. I don't know. I'm wondering, it could be totally different, and maybe they'll bamboozle us and we won't get death and they'll lose the building, but maybe everybody will be okay and there's no death, which again, it doesn't, I just have to embrace chaos every time I think about the direction this show could go, because I think let's logically look at what we should do story-wise. But then I'm like, but it's this show. So I don't know. They're rewriting all the rules. I don't know. I don't know. We could have mass death or we could have no death. What do you think?
That's the most optimistic I've ever heard you be. Like, there's just so many people are dying next week.
Yeah, I don't want people to die. I know that they will. I hope it's mostly the White Devil Derry townsfolk. I hope it's them. I hope they trip and fall right into a puddle of fire and their face gets melted off and they're screaming. That's what I want to see. I am hoping it's not innocent black people.
I mean, if it's going to be true to the book, then I think, yes, a lot of the white folks are going to die too, right? Like that is part of what happens is, but I think so. I think Hank Grogan is super dead.
Yeah.
I think this episode in particular, like planted 40 death flags directly around him, where he's
You're
like,
right.
at least I know if I go, there'll be a nice man that'll take care of my daughter. Talking about Little Will, because he said his favorite movie was War of the Worlds, which is just absolutely wonderful. It just feels like we're setting up that, and also if you're thinking about, like, they're desperately trying to convince Ronnie that she needs to come rejoin the losers and take the fight back to Pennywise, and she's just absolutely adamant that she's not doing that. She's not leaving her father's side. So if you just think, like, practically of how we're going to get this group back together to go down into the sewers, which is, I guess probably what we're going to do. I don't know. Then her father dying is, like, the only way I can think of getting her back in the team.
Yeah, that works. You're right. You're right, especially about the Hank Grogan death flags. They were everywhere. They really, yeah. He's gone for sure.
Maybe that's a dodge that we're, like, setting him up so clearly that actually no, he'll be fine.
Right? I don't know.
Here's what I know: if they kill Rich and or Marge, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
Yeah. Oh my god. I can't even articulate. I'm stopped speaking, Scott. I can't even, my whole system shut down at the very thought of that happening. That would be cataclysmically terrible.
I think Rich is doomed. I don't know if he's dying in the Black Spot fire. I think he's doomed in whatever happens after that. But
little angel.
They're too happy. They're not allowed to be happy, Kim. They're too happy. They're too perfect for each other. We have to destroy this somehow because it's Derry.
That is the way it works. Lest we forget. Sad. Oh, that's sweet, baby. You're right.
And then the closing scene of the season is Marge on top of the standpipe throwing a paper airplane off of the standpipe with Rich's name on it, and it floats down and lands on Main Street.
My heart.
And then Pennywise reaches out and grabs it. And then we go to black.
Oh, I love Scott Scripps. That was fire. That was amazing. Dude, that tracks.
I do think he's not going to make it. And so I was thinking about our question last week about, like, what would keep Leroy here. I think Charlotte's going to die.
Oh, fudge. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, that breaks me. Just thinking about that. Mm-hmm. Damn. You know what, Scott? I've been having, I think it's been such a wild ride that I have not thought about anyone dying. I don't know why. I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. We're good. We're good. And you're really reminding me that I signed up for a horror show and that it's the Pied Piper will come to collect here soon, which is devastating.
Yeah, I just want to remind you, in a show about the novel It, you just said that nobody's going to die at the Black Spot fire.
This is what the show has done to me, Scott. I am not okay. I am in such a state of, like, what the hell am I watching every single week? I don't know. I have so many questions. I have a Tetris pile of questions. What am I supposed to do with all of this? That, like, I just don't know what to do. Therefore, I'm so confused all the time. So, of course, when a confused person looks at the absolute largest massacre in the novel It, I'm going to say to myself, maybe it'll be different. Maybe it'll be fine because I'm that screwed up from this show. I'm everything up is down, black is white, everything's a mess.
So okay, here's my current theory. My current theory, there's a throwaway line from Dick Halloran in which he is explaining about the ghosts he sees to Leroy. I've decided what he says is they tend to stick around where they die. So like Leroy basically asks him, are there any ghosts here with us right now? And he says, yeah, they tend to return to where they die. And it seems like a couple died right here. I think Charlotte dies and Leroy stays in Derry, not because he can see her ghost, but he knows that she is here still. And he stays here because she is here.
Boom. Scott's Shine Powers called it. I love this. That is so great.
It's the only logical reason why someone who knows the danger of this place would stick around, right? Because
right.
And it's a similar beat to Ingrid and her kind of warped obsession with like sticking around and wanting to see her father again in any possible way.
Yeah, and Ingrid reminds us no one in Derry ever really dies. And I think that's been uttered once or twice. Oh my God, this is so good, Scott. I love this. This is so strong. And it would really give the show some strength for me. Give that finale some power if they did something hardcore like that.
I think I would like all those moves, all those choices. Yeah, for sure.
That would be so strong. I think you're right about Rich, and that breaks my heart because I think we talked about this earlier about Richie Tozier's mom is Maggie or something like that. But Rich's last name is Santos. So if they can't get married unless it's a different, and so maybe she just names him Rich. Oh my God, little Rich.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes like the obvious prediction that someone made at the very beginning of the show, it's not me, by the way, someone else came up with this prediction, is just the truth of the matter. And so like the idea that she names her first son after this kid to honor him, checks out for me. So
I'm already grieving. I am already grieving this loss, and it hasn't even happened yet. It's a hard pill to swallow. I love them so much. At this point in the show, I love them all so much.
I just can't believe we're here now. We're like in the second episode, we set up his attraction to her with this weird scene where she's got the glowy it eyes, and we're like, what's going on there? Marge is evil. And now 5 episodes later, we're like, Marge is the best. I love Marge. I love Rich. I want them to be happy forever together. And unfortunately, it's not going to happen because he's going to save her, maybe from the fire, maybe from, something else that happens. What is going to happen after them? So the fire is going to be our penultimate episode. What happens next?
Great question. The Scott tribe mentioned the augury, and it's assumed that the black spot is said augury. But what if it's not? Yeah. What if there's?
I mean, in Kim's estimation, no one dies at the black spot, so it can't be the augury.
I'm all screwed up, Scott. I'm all screwed up. I just don't know anymore. Apparently, there won't be enough dead people for the augury, and they need an even bigger cataclysmic event to end the cycle. Yeah, great question. I don't know what third act they could do that's after the black spot. That's a great question. I don't know.
I mean, we have that mist rolling into town that we saw, right? And we still don't know if that is the mist or just it was just a misty day. We don't know.
I hope it's Project Arrowhead. Get him.
All the threads we have to close here in these 2 episodes, so the black spot's going to burn. We're going to have the aftermath of that. then the government is going to go back looking for the pylons, right? Or whatever they're called. I forget what they're called.
Beacons, pillars.
Pillars, yeah.
Dear.
Why would you just not send like 1,000 soldiers into the sewers?
Great question. $1 million question.
It's General Shaw. This guy doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Right? I mean,
I hope the reveal is that this was all completely unauthorized and he's just been operating all on his own.
Just
And
some crackpot.
The season ends with John F. Kennedy coming to Derry and being like, what the fuck is going on here?
Dude. I like Scott's scripts so much.
Anything else you wanted to talk about in this one?
This is a great question. I don't know. I think I had so many issues with episode 6, The Name of the Father. Last time I said we were in the black. We are in the red this time, Scott. We have a deficit. We have no money in the bank. And so everything I wrote down was mostly everything we talked about in terms of what we liked. I really enjoyed our 1935 stuff, our film noir. What are they? Why? Well, we already talked about it, but I'm still having a problem with it. The dragon glass that it's now evil. Like, what are we gonna do with that? What the hell?
I don't know. I hate it. I hate it so much. And like we've read in the question at the beginning, if the ultimate reveal of this thing is just a rock, but belief gives it power, I would ultimately come around on it. But I just the whole ring of power stuff we're doing with it feels like that's not going to be the case, and we're going to like like you can even kind of see if you squint the argument that's like, well, this is like the meteor from another planet that contained it. So yeah, of course it itself has some bad properties that could rub off on people. Like you can see the argument there, right?
Yeah.
It kind of sucks. I like just between that and the it discharge from last week. I'm just like, why are we needing to use science fiction things to explain human behavior in a way that's just like, no, that's just people, and it has this aura around it that brings out the worst in people, and that's all we need to say. But no, we're science fictioning it, and so we got to have all this stuff.
Right. How do you feel about them coupling the kids up? It seems like everyone's being coupled, minus poor Lily, who's probably going to end up with Alvin Marsh. We don't know, but
yeah, I mean, we didn't talk about Lily very much. I think one thing I loved about, as much as I was like confused about the Ingrid Kirsch stuff, the part of it I ultimately loved was the idea that Lily is now isolated from everyone. That
ooh, yeah.
Her dad's gone. She doesn't have doesn't have a good relationship with her mom. She had this group of friends, and now she feels isolated from them because of the fight. All she had was Ingrid Kirsch, who was like this constant throughout all of this, was this constant like source of strength and comfort. And she's just lost that now. And so we leave this episode with Lily having nothing and no one except for her magic evil dagger. So, I mean, we'll see. But yeah, so I like I like the Marge and Rich coupling. I don't know how I feel about the Will and Ronnie stuff.
Yeah.
First of all, because like at first it seems like Will is like just lying in order to make her happy. Like that scene where he chases her after the standpipe and is talking to her, like he's just agreeing with her, even though he thinks they need to, like he's on Lily's side. We see this later where they're like, we need to go to the black spot and talk to Ronnie to convince her that we all need to get together to fight this thing together. Like that, like Lily is the argument Lily is making that gets her in a fight with Ronnie is one he agrees with, but then he likes this girl. And so he just kind of takes her side in the conversation with her. And I felt like that was weird. I mean, understandable, human, but like in the scratching your head of like, well, what are we doing with this part of it? I was like, oh, okay. I don't know. I didn't, maybe it's the kids. I feel that maybe they don't have as much chemistry, or just like, I didn't do as well with the two of them pairing off.
I feel the same. I'm really glad they didn't kiss. I was like, stop! No! I don't want you guys to do this. It's too much. I think it was just a very heavy dose of coupling, even though it works so well with Marge and Rich. I agree.
Mhm.
It's not working as well with Will and Ronnie. It feels a little awkward, and like, let's pump the brakes on this, please.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. It's not going to happen, because Ronnie's going to watch her father horribly burn in a fire and is not going to be in the mood for any canoodling after that.
Oh man, gosh, prepare for horror, everyone. Prepare for the barbecue, which is terrible.
Oh, so one thing I forgot to talk about, talking about Ingrid, we didn't really talk about the Ingrid and Hank stuff. So like last week, I made the assumption, and perhaps it's ultimately wrong, and this in my quest to see something more complicated in the Ingrid character, I decided that her feelings for Hank Grogan were real, and this is just something that kind of happened that she wasn't planning on, wasn't predicting. With the reveal this week, do you think that's still the case? Or do you think that kind of disproves my theory?
Yeah, great question. This is it's wild, Scott, because what we have is she called in the tip. It has to be her, right? She 100%
so
did.
She doesn't care about him, right? Because like the idea that it must mean that she doesn't care about him,
right?
Or at least cares about the opportunity to see her father more than him,
which is really dark. I mean, this was a very dangerous affair. And for you to flippantly, I don't know about this, Scott. This is like heavy stuff.
Well, the question you have to ask is like, was this part of like the Pennywise four dimension chess move where it's like, all right, get in a relationship with this guy. I don't know how we're going to be able to like use that, but like, I'm just going to assume that we can use that for something soon. Yes, here's an opportunity. Like, I just don't see that kind of planning happening in the world of it, but maybe. I don't know. It ultimately, like, so this is one of those moments where I'm just convinced that we needed a way to link things together. And like, if ultimately the only reason why Ingrid Kirsch was with Hank Grogan is so Ingrid Kirsch can know where Hank Grogan is hiding to be able to be the one to call in the tip, if that's the only reason at the end of the show, I'd be pretty bummed.
Yeah. That would be needlessly diabolical. I don't know. I don't know if we have enough for that to work.
But I mean, like, the show could be really complicated. Like, she's going to be there. Like, I have this vision in my eye of Hank somehow surviving, getting out of the fire, and coming face to face with Ingrid in a clown suit and being like, huh?
That would be the loudest the fuck heard round the world. Like, what the hell is going on? That's going to be wild.
Have you ever seen the Batman Returns?
1,000 times.
The thing I'm imagining is the moment where Shrek goes, Bruce Wayne, why the hell are you dressed like Batman? That's what I'm imagining for him seeing Ingrid in Periwinkle costume.
That's so awesome. Yeah, it's kind of gross that Ingrid just oh gosh, I don't know. It seems really, really terrible. You phoned in, you just coordinated with Charlotte to hide him, to protect him.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have flipped 180 and it's you who called it. Like, I think I'm still wrestling with that. Like, what in the hell? My goodness.
Especially when in the scene with Lily, Lily says, "Please don't hurt me," and Ingrid is kind of taken aback and like, "Hurt you? I would never. Like,
Right.
no." Like, and then she said, "Well, don't hurt any of my friends." And then that's when Ingrid was like, "Well, you know,
Well,
sacrifices and all." So like, her like indignity at the idea that she would hurt Lily says that like she does have a line that she draws and people that she cares about. But that makes the Hank thing just a con. Like
yeah.
I'm really curious to see if this gets resolved in any way.
If they don't resolve it, I'll be upset because that was a huge
Yeah.
low ball they pitched to us. We got a tip right as I was being fired. Which, why did they fire Chief Bowers?
Yeah.
Why? Like, I don't think
I guess because he couldn't find Hank, which is which
he didn't know
there
the
was part of
bus
me that just,
crashed.
there was part of me that just like assumed he was all making that bullshit up so he could have plausible deniability of just like
Oh, good
he
call.
got the tip and then said and then made it and then like like talked with the mayor about how to properly handle this. And but I don't know.
Yeah, last I checked, you were doing fine. I don't, unless they hung the bus crash on Bowers, which, okay, tracks. No. Yeah, I was confused about that. What are those masks? Are those just run of the mill 1960s masks? Okay. They're cool. I'm just
Yeah,
curious. Well, what's going on there? What's going on there, Derry?
I have no idea what they are. I was like, at first, for a second there, I thought they were going to be clown masks, and I was like, "Ooh, that's interesting." But they're not clown masks. They're just like, yeah, just ho hum, cheap looking plastic masks.
Mr. Daly, do you have any thoughts on the color yellow? Any hypotheses?
So I was paying attention to this episode, and one thing I did notice is that Ingrid's house is yellow, with like a yellowy color. So that I saw that and went, huh, and then could find no further conclusions about the color yellow.
Yeah, I'm so curious about it. Marge had a yellow sweater on for a large portion of this episode, as did Will with a yellow shirt. Lots of yellow. And so, like I said, it's either something or it's just the filter to make everything look extra dewy and warm and give it that vintage
Yeah.
look, which it's paying off. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I don't know. We'll keep paying attention. I mean, fire has yellow in it and red and orange.
That it does. I think
So
I don't
maybe we're just
I don't want anyone to die, Scott. And it's going to happen.
sorry, Kim.
I know.
It's gonna happen. Yeah.
I know. You're right. I felt like I don't know what. I'm all discombobulated. That's what the Tetris is squashing me. I am getting squashed by the Tetris blocks.
Can I tell you like the most like pedantic, annoying Scott comment I had for the entire episode?
Yes.
When we see the balloon that Pennywise is holding in 1935, it is a nylon curling ribbon string attached to the balloon. And there ain't no way in 1935 it would be a nylon curling ribbon. It would be a string. It would be like 100% just string. And
Good
I was like,
call.
come on, props. You do better.
Dude, speaking of props,
This
I
is
forgot
a joke.
to...
I don't actually care. This is just so we don't get any angry emails. I don't actually care about that, but it is definitely just nylon ribbon. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, speaking of props, I forgot to mention this in episode 3 during our haunted mansion graveyard scene.
Okay.
Scott, I don't think they had bike lights in 1962, did they? Did they have bike lights in 1962? All of our kids had bike lights. And I was really thrown
Oh.
off by that. They would have just had a flashlight.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Let me ask Google when bike lights. When did bikes have bike lights? Let's see. The flawless thing that is Google's AI. Bikes first had lights in the 1870s. Yeah, okay.
Oh,
Oil lamps.
copy that. Never mind.
In 1923, Bosch unveiled an electric bicycle light that was powered by a dynamo, which generated its own electricity from the wheel's motion. Wow. 1923.
Scott, what is a Weebelo for those who do not know?
Thank you. We forgot to talk about how Rich said he's a Weebelo, and so he knows how to dress wounds. A Weebelo is the last rank in Cub Scouts before you pass on to become a Boy Scout. I was a Weebelo. It's a 2-year program.
Oh.
I dropped out of Scouts before I got to Eagle, but I definitely was a Weebelo. I used to know what it stood for. It stands for something. I think it's like, oh yeah, will be loyal Scouts. Weebelo.
That is so cute. I did not know this.
Yeah. I remember being a Weebelo. We were the Scorpions.
Oh.
And we had our Scorpion yell. I don't think I learned how to dress wounds as a Weebelo like Rich does, but you know, he definitely, like, also, this is just like a small detail, when he puts the spit on the tape, like, he definitely does a really shitty job of it. Like, it's not actually doing anything to the rapping whatsoever.
That was a cute moment of nothing happening. It was very precious.
It was great. I love like all the Marge and Rich stuff, like, just across the board greatness.
So great, so magical.
Those two little actors are just doing so good.
They are. I'm so incredibly impressed by both of them this week.
All right. Anything else? I think I got everything I want to do.
There is stuff, but I don't know what it is. It's all messed up in the Tetris wall, Scott. This was a tricky one this week. I think the show really, like, drained my brain battery, because I've just been overthinking things that I probably shouldn't be.
Sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
that's where we are.
That's fair. I feel equal to you in that regard. I'm looking forward to the final 2 episodes cautiously. But this is one of those, like, I saw some people, like, calling this a filler episode, and I don't actually feel that. I don't feel like it was a filler episode at all. I think that the episode is doing quite a bit of stuff. I think some of it was a little off for me here and there.
Lots of off, for sure. I agree. I don't think it's a filler. We've got some substantial content for sure. And I like what you said earlier about the frame of this episode with the fathers and children is a nice frame. It's one that I really enjoy. It worked well. We have it all over the place. Also, for the constant readers out there, I love our scene with Leroy and Dick so much. And Dick said that line that you mentioned, the dead know things the living don't. Mm-hmm. And so if anybody out there has slept on the Stephen King novel Later, which is Hard Case Crime, King explores that with his lore on the dead. It is a kick-ass little book. It is so wonderful. So if you need some King to accompany your viewing, I think Later is so good for some lore about how King feels about the dead.
No, that's a great call. Yeah, that's a wonderful book. Good shout out. I really enjoyed my time with that one.
Oh my god, it's so good. And King doesn't do a lot of lore, but I think he gave us a lot in that one. And so when Dick Halloran said that line, I immediately jumped to that novel because our main character, Jamie, who does see dead people and communicate with them and help them, he reveals the same thing, Scott. He says they hang out for a little bit and they can only tell the truth. And it's fascinating stuff. I love it so much. So if there is a constant reader out there who hasn't read Later, it's super quick and you should fill your holiday season with that promptly.
Absolutely. All right. Well, one more thing. I want I'm sure we have some listeners that either were or are currently in the military. You all need to tell me if a little boy would be able to ride his bike through the military checkpoint as easily as it happens in the show.
Yes, good grief.
Because we see it, like we assumed it in last week's episode, but in this week's episode, we actually see him just ride through it. And I guess like maybe the argument is like leaving the military base, they would be fine with it. I don't think he would just be able to easily like ride his bike back in on base, but maybe they just, especially in the 60s, were just kids, whatever, and would just not do anything. I don't know. I dated a girl whose father was in the army, mother was in the army, both of her sisters were in the army, and so I visited an army base with her, and I mean there was a lot of check in and check out at the base when you entered and left, so it could just be a time thing. I don't know, and also who cares, but I was just curious about that.
It is a very valid question. I love this, Scott. I care. I want to know.
Okay. All right. Well, that is going to do it for us this week on the show. Next week, we'll be back covering episode 7. It's called The Black Spot. That's it. It's The Black Spot. So I wonder what's going to happen on that one.
Oh, God. A miracle. That's what's going to happen.
Sure. You're probably definitely not right.
Yeah. Whatever. Sure.
So until then, Kim, where can people find you?
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us. This was a wild one. I can be found on Spotify, anywhere you can get your podcasts. I am at the Year of Underrated Stephen King, and then also the Patreon, which is the Dance Macabre with Kim C. I also have a little tiny baby YouTube channel that I don't really know how to work all that well, but there's a couple things on there. So, and then you could say hi at my Gmail, underratedsk@gmail.com. If you want to talk shop with me. I love Stephen King forever and always 24/7. So if you want to share your ideas about anything at all, you can say hi there as well.
Awesome. Yeah. You can, of course, find me over at our other podcast, Flanagan's Wake. We are covering The Haunting of Bly Manor right now. Also, we are doing book club this week on Saturday, the 6th of December. We're going to be meeting over on our YouTube page, youtube.com/doofmedia, to talk about Joe Hill's King's Sorrow, his newest novel that just came out like a month ago. We'll be chatting about that one. So join us live at 9:30 p.m. Central Time on YouTube to chat about that book for a couple hours.
I'm so excited. I asked Santa for Christmas to give me King's Sorrow, so I hope I get it.
I think you will enjoy it. I do. I don't want to spoil too much about what I think about it. Gotta leave the people wanting more, but I think you'll enjoy it for sure.
Yay! Oh, that's great.
All right, folks, we will see you next week for the penultimate episode in which nobody dies at the Black Spot.
I'm haunted by my own words. I can't believe it.
Until then, long days and pleasant nights.
And may you have twice the number.